don't know if the people really want it now. I'm not sure. I wasn't very happy with that. This young man didn't know me, had never spent any time with me. It's really bad. I don't really like this kind of thing.
She discovered him, but he never let her go. When Diana Ross introduced Michael Jackson to the world, few knew just how deep their bond would run or how complicated it would become. Behind the music was a tangled mix of mentorship and obsession that spanned decades. Was she just his mentor, or something more? And what really happened behind the scenes? Join us as we uncover the truth about the remarkable bond between the two legendary artists who changed the face of American music. It was never just friendship. For many years, people have wondered about the real relationship between Diana Ross and Michael Jackson. Was it just a close friendship? Was it one-sided love? Or was it something more complicated? Now, in a private voice note, said to be recorded for her children and later shared with a biographer, Ross has reportedly decided to tell her side of the story. As her health declines and people celebrate her legacy, this confession has brought new attention to one of music's biggest mysteries. In the recording, Ross admits that Michael once told her he loved her, not only as a mentor or friend, but as a woman. For years, she called it a childhood crush. But now she says the lines between them were not always clear. He looked at me like I was everything, mother, muse, dream, she says, and I let him. She explains that she never wanted to hurt him, but admits their emotional bond may have been stronger than she admitted in public. Ross reportedly confirmed the long-standing rumor that Michael Jackson wrote Dirty Diana about her, even though he had publicly said it was about a random fan. She also remembered how he didn't come to her wedding, saying she understood how hard it was for him to be there. This admission was surprising because Ross is usually very private, and even her closest friends were shocked that she spoke so openly about this sensitive part of her relationship with Michael. Fans around the world are now debating the confession. Some believe it finally brings closure, while others see it as proof of what they suspected all along. Whatever people think, one thing is certain. The story of Michael Jackson and Diana Ross was never simple, and maybe it's not truly finished. The Motown Introduction. Diana Ross first crossed paths with Michael Jackson at Motown Records in the late 60s when Berry Gordy signed the Jackson 5 to his legendary label. Ross was already a superstar as the glamorous lead singer of the Supremes. While Michael was just a remarkably talented 10-year-old from Gary, Indiana. Their initial connection was partly engineered by Gordy himself, who saw marketing potential in linking his biggest female star with his newest group. In fact, Motown promoted the narrative that Ross had discovered the Jackson 5, though this was primarily a publicity strategy rather than historical fact. What made their early friendship special was that Diana Ross truly cared about Michael's growth, even though their professional connection was partly set up by others. The story that she discovered the Jackson 5 wasn't real, but she still took her role as their mentor seriously. She saw in young Michael not only amazing talent, but also someone who understood the tough life of performing from a young age. Ross hadn't been a child star herself, but since she joined the Supremes as a teenager, she knew the unique pressures Michael was dealing with. Behind the scenes, Ross took time to offer Michael advice about stage presence, media interactions, and navigating Motown. Former Motown employees have recounted how she would invite the young performer to observe her recording sessions and rehearsals, allowing him to study her techniques and professional discipline. For the young Michael, these opportunities were invaluable masterclasses from an artist he deeply admired. As Michael moved from being a child star to a teenage performer, his relationship with Diana Ross changed too, becoming shaped by both his growing career and their personal bond. The Performance Study. Diana Ross reportedly said that when Michael Jackson became a teenager, his admiration for her grew into a serious study of her talent. People who worked with them in the early 70s said Michael watched Ross closely, learning how she held the stage, impressed audiences, and carried herself with confidence. Her style influenced many parts of his own performances, from some of his dance moves to the way he showed emotion with even small gestures. These became trademarks of the King of Pop's legendary shows.
Me
What made this mentorship special was how it mixed both personal and professional lessons. Instead of formal music classes, Diana Ross guided Michael by showing him how she worked and sometimes giving direct advice. She let him see behind the scenes of her world, teaching him not just how to perform, but how to think like a superstar. Later, Michael said Ross taught him the importance of connecting with every person in the audience, no matter how big the crowd was. At this time, Diana Ross was moving from being part of the Supremes to becoming a solo artist, a path Michael Jackson would later take too. Her success as an independent performer gave Michael a clear example to follow when he eventually left his brothers to start his own career. Though their careers were at different stages, with Ross at her peak and Jackson still developing, they shared a mutual respect that transcended their age, difference, and status. As the 70s went on, Michael and Diana's relationship grew beyond just teacher and student. It became a deeper personal bond that started to mean a lot to both of them. The Wiz connection. The 1978 movie The Wiz didn't just bring Diana Ross and Michael Jackson together on screen. It also put them in the middle of a real-life drama. Some people said their relationship during filming had a hint of romance. Ross, who was 34, used her influence to get the role of Dorothy, a choice that upset many in Hollywood. Jackson, only 19, was starting to move beyond the Jackson 5 and wanted to build his own career. But what happened behind the scenes left a lasting impact that went far beyond the movie itself. Rumors from the set say that Michael Jackson developed strong feelings for Diana Ross. What started as admiration grew into a crush, and he reportedly told her that he loved her as a woman. People close to Ross said she was surprised, but also flattered. She simply told him that he was still a boy, and although she often flirted with him, she turned down his feelings. Even though Diana Ross made it clear there wouldn't be a romance, she didn't leave Michael behind. Instead, she stayed close and even introduced him to Quincy Jones during the filming of The Wiz. Quincy went on to produce Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, albums that changed Michael's career forever. While The Wiz failed at the box office, what happened behind the scenes mattered more. Michael's heartbreak, Ross's influence, and a bond that was hard to define. In the years after, their relationship was surrounded by rumors of late-night phone calls, secret dedications, and onstage tributes. Some people believe Michael never truly got over her, while others think Ross kept him emotionally tied to her, even as she moved forward. Whatever the truth, The Wiz didn't just start Michael's solo career. It also began a story of love that may have been one-sided, but never completely faded. The career crossroads. By the early 80s, Diana Ross's and Michael Jackson's careers were moving in different directions. Ross stayed popular with songs like Upside Down and I'm Coming Out, but Jackson's Thriller became a worldwide phenomenon, breaking records and making him one of the biggest stars in history. While the public saw the student becoming bigger than the teacher, what they didn't see was the behind-the-scenes moment. In his autobiography, Jackson reportedly described Ross as a mother, a friend, and a lover. People close to him said he meant it seriously. He was deeply in love, maybe even obsessed. Some believe he wrote Dirty Diana not about a fan, but as a bold tribute to Ross, mixing desire and frustration. He even refused to go to her wedding, which many say was because of heartbreak. To Michael, Ross wasn't just a mentor. She was the one. For Diana Ross, things were more complicated. Privately, she was said to be uncomfortable with how strong Michael's feelings were, especially with their age difference and the constant attention from the media. She avoided adding to the rumors, even when fans and reporters pushed for answers. In a private recording that later came out, Ross reportedly explained that their bond was more like puppy love, a friendship that people often exaggerated. Still, the rumors never went away. Their relationship, misunderstood by some and romanticized by others, became one of the most talked about mysteries in music history. Whether it was unreturned love, emotional dependence, or something more, one thing is clear: Michael's feelings for Ross were powerful, and whatever Ross truly felt, she kept most of it to herself. The surrogate family bond. What made their bond special was how it connected both his personal and professional life. Ross wasn't family, and she wasn't part of his business team, but she was a trusted advisor, a friend, and an emotional anchor. She had known him since he was a child, yet treated him as the adult he had become, respecting his artistic vision while still giving honest advice when needed. Most of their time together happened in private, with dinners at each other's homes and long phone calls, rather than public appearances. People who worked for them remembered how relaxed they seemed together, dropping their superstar images and just being themselves. For Michael, who often lived behind walls both literally and emotionally, these moments of real connection meant a lot. By the late 80s and early 90s, both Diana Ross and Michael Jackson were facing heavy public criticism. Ross was dealing with problems after an airport incident and her Central Park concert.
Heathrow Airport after being arrested for allegedly assaulting a female security officer who'd attempted a body search.
While Jackson was being talked about for his changing looks and unusual behavior. But behind all the headlines, a bigger rumor started spreading that their long friendship had turned into something physical. Some people in the music industry claimed Ross had used her charm to pull Jackson in, not just as a mentor but also in a romantic way. They said the two had slept together and that Jackson, still young and very attached, thought it meant something lasting. Others believed Ross saw benefits in being both his muse and his lover. No matter the truth, people close to Jackson said he never got over his feelings for her. His songs, mysterious lyrics, and public tributes often seemed to point back to Ross. Years later, Ross reportedly shared a private recording with a friend, saying their bond had always been complicated, but that Jackson's feelings were really just a small crush that had been exaggerated. Whether that was her way of protecting herself or the honest truth, no one knows. But for fans and insiders, the idea that their relationship was more than emotional has never completely gone away. The loyalty controversy. When Michael Jackson was accused of being indecent with children in 1993, many people around him pulled away, worried about their own reputations. Diana Ross, however, stayed by his side. She gave him support and sometimes defended him in public. Her loyalty during this difficult time showed how deep their connection really was. It wasn't about fame or business, but something more personal. Unlike others who tried to use their link to Jackson for publicity, she didn't give big interviews or dramatic statements. Instead, she spoke directly to him, letting him handle his legal troubles while knowing she was there for him emotionally. People close to Jackson said Ross was one of the few who could reach him when he shut himself away, whether at Neverland Ranch or in other countries. He would always take her calls, and those conversations gave him comfort when he felt abandoned by many friends. In 2002, when Michael Jackson revised his will following the birth of his third child, he made a decision that revealed the unparalleled trust he placed in Diana Ross. In the document, Jackson named Ross as the secondary guardian for his children, to take custody should his mother Catherine be unable to care for them. What made this choice particularly significant was Jackson's notorious perfectionism and protectiveness regarding his children. He had gone to extreme lengths to shield them from media attention and create what he considered an ideal childhood environment at his Neverland Ranch. Entrusting their future care to Ross showed a level of faith that transcended typical friendship. It suggested that despite their different approaches to parenting and life, Jackson saw in Ross the essential qualities he most valued: warmth, strength, and an understanding of the unique challenges his children would face as heirs to his legacy. This trust made Ross not only a part of Jackson's personal life, but also a guardian of his most precious legacy, his children. So when the world lost Michael so suddenly, how could Ross not be devastated by the weight of both grief and responsibility? The heartbreaking goodbye. When Michael Jackson suddenly passed on June 25, 2009,
the king of pop has died. Michael Jackson, the pop music and dance innovator, passed away.
Diana Ross was heartbroken. In a short statement that day, she said, "I can't stop crying. This is too sudden and shocking. I am unable to imagine this. My heart is hurting. I am in prayer for his kids and the family." Her words showed how real and deep their connection was, lasting more than 40 years, far beyond the usual friendships in the music business. What made the loss even harder for Ross was how sudden it was, and the fact that many things in Michael's life were left unresolved. Friends said she felt guilty for not being more present during his final struggles, when his health was getting worse and he was preparing for a big comeback tour. Although they stayed in touch, their busy lives and careers had created more distance than before. After his death, Ross chose to grieve quietly. She turned down most interviews and stayed away from the spotlight. She did attend Michael's memorial at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, but she didn't speak or perform. Instead, she honored their relationship in private, just as she had always treated their friendship as something real and personal, not for show. Which aspects of Diana Ross and Michael Jackson's relationship do you find most significant? Was their mentor-protege dynamic ultimately beneficial for both their careers? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.